We're officially halfway through OWCS Korea Group Stage 1, and things are starting to heat up. And as the intensity has continued to rise, we've seen a lot of players across various teams come out of the woodwork and deliver some excellent individual performances. Along with that, a bunch of players seem to be benefiting greatly from having a new opportunity in a new league on a new team, thanks to the death of the Overwatch League. The league holds a special place in our hearts, of course, but it's undeniable that since it has gone away, that a bunch of players have come out and are starting to level up thanks to a new chance at life. And in today's video, we're going to take some time to appreciate some of the players who have benefited the most since the death of OWL so far here in the group stage. I really hope you enjoy. You're going to see players appear on this list for a variety of reasons, but we should probably start with a guy who's benefited from just being able to show off his talents, and that of course would be the DPS sensation out of Runaway, Prophet. As we all know, the 2023 OWL season, especially when he was on the Dynasty, was a complete and utter failure. Definitely not all his fault, as the meta was heavily Sombra involved, which is just not his comfort zone, and the Dynasty itself as a franchise were on the way out, so he didn't get the type of performance we were hoping out of him, just knowing the potential that we saw previously. So he was kind of labeled as a bust from time to time, and he ended up leaving the team early. Now of course, we saw a bit of a preview of what it could be like under a more normal circumstance for him. He played a lot better, but the sample size was very small. Now of course, the same thing can be said for here in the group stage so far. Anything can change, but since Runaway has given him a chance, he's looked like a completely different player, even leveling up compared to what we saw during the summer after he left Seoul. Naturally, going into this year, it seemed like this was one of the biggest questions on if Runaway could be a successful team, and he has stepped up. He has made sure that he has been a strong point rather than a weak point, a solid 1-2 punch with zest, a crazy hit scan, playing what he's comfortable on the Cassidy in particular, and even looking good on the Echo beforehand, a hero that he was definitely not known for. Through the rapid, various changing metas in Korea, he has stood tall as one of the most consistent DPS players in the entire world, and maybe you could even make a case that he's the best hit scan in OWCS Korea right now. He has really been that good. There's more challenges ahead of him, yes, but he's off to a great start with how dominant he has been in a bunch of Runaway's games. He has been the main playmaker and facilitator at times, even putting Decay completely on the back foot in their game against Genesis. This dude stood absolutely no chance, just as one-sided as can be at times. The glow up and the benefit from OWL not being a thing and having more chances to be on a legit franchise has been night and day for this guy. It has been so huge in making sure that he actually delivers on his potential and makes a career for himself like we all hoped he was going to during his dominant days on O2 Blast. I'm super happy for Prophet, and I'm excited to see how far he can help take Runaway as the weeks go on. While we're on the topic of Runaway, I feel inclined to bring up Vigilante as another player who has definitely benefited from Overwatch League going away. Not so much in the sense of being this dominant player completely unleashing his potential like Prophet, but more so from the other side of things, where he's just getting a chance to be an actual starter on a team. In Overwatch League, he seemingly got screwed over time after time for so many different reasons, consistently riding the bench and not getting the chance to unleash what we knew he was capable of back in the day when he played for Talon Esports in Contenders Korea. People forget because time flies and, the next bit of news comes out, but back in 2022, he was the guy. Vigilante was a highly sought-after prospect, one of the most respected up-and-coming players amongst his peers and coaches, but he just never got that real opportunity to shine. But now, here in OWCS, he has that chance. Full trust has been put in him to be the starting flex support on a legit team. And I find that really cool, just seeing this guy succeed after a rough upbringing in OWL. It's great to finally have him get an opportunity to just be him and not have to ride the shadow of somebody else. He's played well. Clearly he's learned a lot throughout the years. He looks patient out there. He's been a good leader out in that back line for Runaway, dictating the pace. He's doing a great job over there, and I'm just super happy for the guy. definitely benefiting a lot from not having to deal with being traded from team to team in OWL. Another guy who has certainly cashed in on the skill perspective is Bernar. We've known this guy's been really good for a super long time now, but this is the type of Bernar people have been hoping to see for years at the highest level possible. I mean, what he's been doing on FTG has been nothing short of spectacular, arguably being the best tank in OWCS so far, I'd like to add. Unbelievable Doomfist play in the first week, with a different style compared to a lot of other Dooms out there, and then a solid Zarya the week after, as well as the Orisa. He has been an amazing solo tank for this team thus far. They haven't even need to use Bellows Rhea because of that consistency. He's been great. I mean, we always knew he was a good player. He's been showing it for years on end, but we all know how unlucky he was during his OWL career, playing for poor teams, being on a team that was never going to utilize him properly, and then joining so late with Houston at the end there. That was a last-second spur-of-the-moment signing, and if the meta ends up being different during that time, he never would have gotten picked up to begin with. And just knowing how competitive the market was in OWL, there's no guarantee, even after that playoff performance, that he would have found a new job in OWL. So it's really a blessing that it ended up going away for him, because now he gets to shine with a team that people want to play with him on. The circumstances are under his control, and he can fully cash in on the momentum that we saw during that brief stint on Houston. Bernar is at the top of his game right now, and it's really sick to see. The 2020 fanboys out there are freaking out. Bernar truly is one of the biggest examples on this list of a player who benefits from both sides of the coin. And just to keep things on the side of FTG, we definitely have to bring up alexyOWL as well. I guess by proximity, you could also throw Flora into this, as he's kind of suffered from similar circumstances, but alexyOWL in particular, I'm incredibly happy for, as now he gets to be a lead playmaker on a team like on Washington last year, but this time on a good team that has a legit chance to be truly competitive, that's not going to be consistently one of those underdogs. This is like his first real chance to have the right circumstance, like the Hangzhou Spark competitiveness, but then also the leader aspect of what he got on Washington. It's the best of both worlds for this guy. He's no longer that second option in the free agency market. He is the guy. No longer is he held by the shackles of certain teams maybe not being able to afford him, or having another player in mind that they want to sign, even though he wants to play with specific players on these teams. Now all of that goes straight out the window, and he can play with people that he's friends with on a legit team where they can all share the responsibilities together while still getting an opportunity to thrive as that elite hyperflex DPS that we've known him as the last few years. alexyOWL is officially living the good life. No longer does he have to worry about not being recognized fully by the media. He's on a relevant team, so he can play well on those guys and truly get the star treatment, while also not having to totally live in the shadow of another big name. alexyOWL is finally in the right place, and I couldn't be happier for the guy. And of course, this video would not be complete without proper. Mentioning him is a must, and it's not even in the sense that we get to see his talents be utilized better or anything like that. I honestly think it's the opposite. The fact that he doesn't have to do as much while still being the contributor that he is. You have to remember how rough things were on the Shock the last couple of years. Yes, there were a lot of positive results that came, especially in his rookie year. We know about that magical 2022 run that him and the Shock went on, and it helped develop him into the player he is and make him as popular as he is today. But there are also some poor results that go along with the good times, like we saw in the infamous 2023 season. But regardless, whether it's through the good or the bad, there was a very consistent theme while playing for the Shock, and that was proper go kill or we lose. That just always seemed to follow him no matter what during his San Francisco tenure. It was so many times all up to him, and now all that pressure just isn't going to be there all the time. Proper, like I've been saying for so many times in these videos, he just finally has help. He has a real team around him. We saw him benefit from leaving the Shock in the Flash Ops tournament during the winter, but now here in a more official capacity on Team Falcons, we're really seeing it play out on a god-tier roster like this. And it's great for him. He still gets to be a superstar player. He still gets to be at the forefront, to be a dominant force, but now he's going to always have that reliable help with a guy like Stalker next to him, with elite tank play, with one of the best backlines of all time. Proper is finally living the good life after having to carry his butt off, oftentimes to no avail beforehand. Now, to be completely fair, there's still a chance that maybe things could have gotten better for him if OWL kept going. Maybe he could have gotten out of being on the San Francisco Shock and played on a good team, just like the one he's on with Falcons. But we don't really know for sure what his contract was like over there, nor if it'd be guaranteed to be playing on such a great super team like this one. I don't know if all the stars would align perfectly in the way that they have thanks to OWL going away. Proper's probably very happy to be in this scenario where things are just a lot less stressful. For the last pit stop in this video, at least here in part 1, if you want a part 2, let me know down in the comments below, is going to be on WAC. In particular, I wanted to start with Heesang. We all know the narrative by now. It's as old as time. It's been going on for months. When these O2 Blast players leave the Shock, good things typically happen. We saw a little bit of it for Heesang when he went to Vancouver in 2023, and I guess even in the Flash Ops tournament a bit as well. But honestly, here in OWCS so far, he's leveled up, and he's done it significantly, arguably looking like one of the top flex DPS in the region right now. Dude has been absolutely crushing it on WAC. Saying the Shock held this guy back would be an understatement, and I'm so glad that his legacy was not completely defined by that franchise. I mean, oh my lord, he's been putting people in their place in this Echo battle, shoving them into lockers practically. As we've talked about, honestly, through a lot of this video, sometimes it's just wrong place, wrong time, it's a bad fit for the system, and Heesang is the perfect example of that. Him and Proper together just wasn't a good match, but when he gets to be the true flex DPS of the team, and he's in his realm of comfort, and he gets total trust as one of the lead playmakers, good things typically happen. There's a lot of pressure put on this guy, a lot of question marks surrounding him on if he could be a good enough partner next to Lip in the DPS department, and the answer, at least so far, has emphatically been yes. And if it weren't for OWL ending, this never would have occurred. Honestly, even though he played good on Vancouver, it may not have been enough to save his career, and he might have missed out on if there was an OWL Season 7. So it truly is a blessing that he's gotten the opportunity to move forward into this new era to truly demonstrate his skill on a team that is definitely in the elite tier over in Korea. And just one more example here on this WAC team that is a must to bring up is Heesang's former O2 Blast and San Francisco Shock teammates, Max and Junin. I know I'm kind of cheating here because it's technically two players at once, but you can knock out both birds with one stone here, I'd like to say, as it's pretty much the same exact circumstance. Max more so than Junin, but in general, both of them leaving Shock Jail has led to some good things. Them being in a tank rotation in a comfortable environment where Krusty doesn't have a wacky thing going on where they're playing the opposite roles has just led to all sorts of great things happening. Junin has been the lead man, he's looked good on Doomfist, confident under new coaching with new teammates, and then Max has been such a great story since leaving San Francisco. This dude got nothing but memed on, not all his fault by any means, but as we all know, his win percentage when he played maps for San Francisco was absolutely abysmal. Now, here on WAC, in Overwatch Champions Series, it's been a completely different story with him. He is that closer. He comes in for those specific map types, and he dominates with ease on Sigma and Diva as well. This looks like the Max that we were promised during the contender stays. Just imagine if there was another year of OWL and this guy ends up not getting picked up because of all of the awful stuff that happened with San Francisco. That would have been his legacy, at least for a long time, as he tries to build himself back up. That's what we would have remembered him as the guy that could never win on the Shock. Getting this second chance at life has meant literally everything in terms of turning his career around and being that guy that we hoped he'd be, and I'm super happy for both him and Junin, who now get to show off that but they really were great tanks after all. And that's essentially all I've got for you. Let me know what you think of this list down in the comments below, and who else has greatly benefited from the death of OWL. It could be in Korea or a different region. I'd love to hear your opinion down below, as surely there's some guys that I missed or could potentially put in a part 2. And of course, if you enjoyed the video and you want to stay up to date with all things OWCS content and news related, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I've been ATP, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.